So there are a lot of good guides out there for Space Marines 2, but most of them cater more to experienced players, veterans, with some advanced tips, things like that. There may be some good ones for beginners as well, but if there are, I haven't really seen any. So what I thought I would do is just create the kind of guide that I wish I had had just a few days ago when I first started playing Operations, which is basically baby's first steps into Operations. So I'm going to explain a couple of things about how this works and also go through I think probably the first operations that you're going to want to kind of get down and use for a couple purposes, which I'll go into in a second. But this is basically going to be all about how to not so much how to select your classes, but what the thought process behind choosing your class to begin with, what you want to use your beginning operations to do, and how the leveling system works. So, as you can see right here, I'm nothing special, by the way. I am what I would consider to be maybe a very mid player of Space Marine 2. I don't have enough time to dedicate to becoming a truly fantastic player, but I do think that there's a lot of other casuals out there who probably enjoy the game and would like to get decent at it, enough for it to be fun without being, absolute tryhards. So what I'm going to do is talk a little bit about that. So first of all, you've got the 6 different classes. I presume everybody probably already knows that. You may have already thought about what class you want to play, but I'm going to suggest that you start out with Tactical. It is sort of the good all-around class. It's a good one to kind of sink your teeth into when you're first getting started for a couple of different reasons. You can play it in a couple of different play styles. It has very good complementary abilities to help out the rest of the team. And once you kind of get a feel for playing the Tactical, I think that you'll figure out like what parts of the game you really enjoy the most, and then maybe you're going to want to focus a little bit more then on maybe melee oriented, or maybe a sniper build, more of a distance type of an elite killer type of build, whatever. But Tactical is kind of good all around and lets you kind of get a taste of everything. Now, the first thing to keep in mind, I'm level 19 here, which you may think, well, that's how appropriate is that going to be for beginners? Well, first thing to keep in mind, here's your perk tree. Obviously, I haven't unlocked them all yet, but the thing is, as you level up your first 1, 2, 3, well, here, I guess this is going to be level 9, I think, is what you need to be to unlock your signature. Anyway, once you get this first row right here unlocked, you're more or less, I don't want to say you're at maximum power, because it's nice to have some variety of different perks to choose. But think of it this way. Once you go level 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, once you get to level 9 and you've got one of these in every column, you should not necessarily feel like continuing to level up is going to make you stronger. Yes, there will be some perks that are more appropriate that's going to be better for certain play styles and for certain group compositions, but technically, once you've got one of these perks in every column, and that's all you can do, by the way, is you can only have one perk unlocked in each column. So let me just go ahead and do this. You can see how this now turned off all of these others right here. So once you've got one unlocked in every column, you're technically at maximum strength. It's just you're going to have more variety than once you have unlocked these others. So technically, going from level 9 all the way up to 25 does not necessarily make you any stronger. The real strength comes from improving your gear, which I'll talk about in just a second. But I'm just going to go ahead, and I don't think I can turn these off entirely, so I'm just going to leave these basic options on right here to show you how you can get through the operations without paying any attention at all to these, because when you start out, you're not going to have any of these to choose from. You gain experience from completing missions or from failing missions. We'll talk about that in a little bit more detail in a second, but your main goal should be to try to complete missions, because that's what's going to net you the most experience. When you think you're ready for it, you're probably going to want to try to pick up the gene seed in order to get some additional experience from succeeding at missions. There are other things that you get from doing missions, which I'll talk about now. So, next step is you've got weapons to choose from. This is where your real power is going to come from. So, as you can see here, I've got this. I like the auto bolt rifle. I know it's not meta. I say play whatever gun you really enjoy the feel of, and lately I've been enjoying the feel of the auto bolt rifle. Now, I have tried some of these other guns. As you can see, I've unlocked the grenade launcher on the bolt rifle. I've messed around some with the stalker bolt rifle. I've gotten to the point where I could unlock this with an artificer purple armory data. I haven't done that yet. I want to hang on to these until I know for sure what weapons I want to commit to. So anyway, pick a weapon, the weapon that feels good to you. You're going to start out down here at the very lowest level. So as you can see here, I've unlocked the master crafted gun for this, but to show you again how you can get through ops without it, I'm going to switch back to the standard issues, because this is all you're going to be able to start out with. So I'm just going to start out with your basic auto bolt rifle, but pick whatever weapon appeals to you the most. Same thing here. I have actually unlocked the artificer or purple tier of these weapons, and again I'm going to switch back to this for purposes of this demonstration. Now let me go ahead and explain for a second. So as you as a character gain experience, so too will your weapons gain experience, and each type of weapon has different amounts of experience. So taking a look here at the different primary weapons that a tactical has to choose from, you can see right here, my auto bolt experience is different than my bolt rifle experience, is different than my heavy bolt experience, is different than the stalker. You get the idea. I haven't even messed around with plasma weapons yet, because I want to learn how to be good at one weapon or a couple of bolt weapons anyway before I start messing around with plasma. Again, not meta. I just like to kind of practice over and over again until I feel good at something before I start learning something else. Okay, and I think that's a decent strategy for this game in general, and I'll go into a little bit more detail about that in a minute. As you level these things up, I'll just explain one other thing. As you unlock these different versions of the gun, you're also at the same time going to unlock different appearances. So you've got different appearances that you can choose from right here. Anyway, not really important. That's just cosmetic, obviously. Also, as you gain experience in your gun, you will also gain mastery points. And mastery points are how you level up the perk tree for each gun. So you not only have a perk tree for your character, but also for your weapons. And then one last thing to mention is that the armory data does block you. You need armory data to unlock a particular tier before you can take your perks. Same thing is true then for unlocking more powerful versions stat-wise for each of these different guns. So you definitely want to start out with getting a fair amount of the green armory data. That's your master crafted armory data, because you need one of those to unlock the master crafted tier versions and perk tree for each weapon. Now you're going to get to the point where you have more of these than you know what to do with, but that should be your goal in the very beginning, is to unlock or to gain some armory data of the master crafted variety, so that when you get enough experience in your weapons, you can unlock this tier right here. The other way, besides doing operations really quickly, that you can get some of these armory data unlocked and also get some experience in the process, is by doing these trials. As you can see here, I've done some of them. I haven't done very many. Some of them here I've actually done quite well on, like the assault here. I found the assault ones to be quite easy to do. The tactical I actually found to be some of the most difficult trials, so I didn't waste too much more time. I wanted to get into ops, so that's why I haven't unlocked all those. But that is an option for you. Try out the different trials for the different classes, and in the process you might find out which classes you want to lean towards going in the future, as well as gaining a little bit of experience and a little bit of armory data to start with. And just like I did with the chainsword, this is definitely a good weapon to try to level up very quickly because it is used by a number of different classes. But again, for now, I'm going to jump back to the basic level of it. And here with the bolt pistol, this is another good one to unlock because a lot of different classes can use it. So I went ahead and the first few pieces of Artificer Armory data that I got, I used to unlock the Artificer tier of the bolt pistol and the chainsword. Okay, so I've got basic weapons right here. Let's go ahead now and actually, you know what? One other thing I want to do, just because it feels appropriate, is I'm going to go all the way back here to the basic look of the armor set. So I'm as basic as you can get right now. We're going to go ahead and skip the trials for now. What we're going to do is we're going to go pick up or start the operation. So one thing that right now is a little bit buggy in the game, first thing you want to do is you want to turn on private mode. You change that with the Y key. Very important to do this right away as soon as you come into this, this terminal right here. The reason being, if you accidentally forget to turn that on right away, you will get other players who join your group. Now, there's nothing wrong with teaming up with other players if you want to do that right away. I personally wanted to do it with some bots just so that I could mess around and kind of learn at my own pace and not feel like I was letting anybody else down. So that's completely up to you. There's nothing wrong with joining other players. However, in my experience, players do very little talking to one another, so it's unlikely that you'll find somebody who's going to kind of help guide you through. That's really what this video is for. I'm also going to recommend, I know probably after getting through the campaign, you're going to feel like you are ready for something more than minimal, and who knows, maybe you are. I personally did the campaign in Angel of Death difficulty, and my instinct was to go ahead and go right into Ruthless difficulty on operations because I really like high difficulties. I figure I'm okay with dying over and over again if I learn from it. I'm not going to recommend that when you're getting started in ops. In fact, I'm going to recommend that you start with minimal, and there's a couple of reasons for it. Number one, your gear is absolute rubbish at the very beginning, so you're really not going to be ready to take on the more challenging enemies who are more bullet sponges, and there's going to be a lot more of them, and there's going to be higher tiers of enemies at the higher difficulties. At minimal, you're going to face small packs of enemies. It's still going to be enough to be fun, trust me. You'll still be challenged when you're a beginner. But when you move on to average, there'll be bigger packs. They'll be a little bit harder to kill each, and also you're going to start seeing the bosses showing up. Like the mini bosses will show up at this level. There'll be more of them, and just everything all around more difficult at each particular level as you move up here. You are not going to be able to kill bosses on Ruthless with beginning gear. And that's why it has this recommended level down here. Recommended level 1, it recommends you start with minimal. This recommends that you go on to average at level 5, and that's fine. I think average is a good one to land on until you really feel competent at the game, but I'm going to recommend you start on minimal and not even go up to average necessarily at level 5. You may not be ready for it at level 5 even. The weird thing for this is this recommended level, I feel like it's based on your class level. So like my tactical is level 19, so that should mean that I'm ready to play Ruthless, right? I don't know why they do this recommended level thing right here, because to me it makes a lot more sense to base it on your gear. And so, for example, even when you're a higher level, if your gear's not that great, you're not going to want to step up the way that it does the recommended level here. And also, even if you're a pretty decent player, particularly with like tactical, because there's a lot of different weapons that you can play around with. Let's say you level up your your bolt rifle with grenade launcher all the way up to the top, but you want to start learning plasma weapons, or you want to switch to the auto bolt like I've done here. Again, that weapon is really going to be very underpowered for these higher difficulty levels. So keep that in mind when you're choosing your difficulty level. Now, one last reason why, or two reasons why I'm going to recommend starting with minimal. This right here and this right here, these two levels will both get you master crafted armory data. You can see it down there on the lower left, armory data, master crafted. You can pick up master crafted armory data, and I'll show you the locations for those when we get into the op. You can pick those up, and you need green and lots of it to begin with, but then when you get to the point where you're ready to unlock the higher tiers of your weapons, you're going to need some purple armory data, the artificer level, so you're going to have to start doing substantial at that point. There's no benefit to starting out with substantial because you need green armory data at the beginning. It's great to have these purples down the road, but you need to start with green. So one more reason to start with minimal. And then finally, the other reason I'm going to recommend starting with minimal, I don't think there's anything wrong with doing it this way. Yeah, you'll get more experience and you'll also improve as a player overall. Once you're doing this, particularly you'll get the hang of fighting bosses. But when you do minimal, it's kind of a good environment for learning, and this game is all about muscle memory and getting the timing down and recognizing the moves and the cues of the enemies that you're fighting, and you really want to get that muscle memory down before you start taking on really, really difficult packs of enemies. I think this is the right level to really do some practice in. And what you want to do is you want to once you feel like you're ready for it, grab the gene seed. You get almost as much experience from doing minimal using the gene seed as you would doing average without the gene seed, meaning using a guardian relic. So let's talk about those two things for a second. If you're not familiar with them, you can only carry either a guardian relic, which gives you an additional time that you can recover from the down state. You can also instantly recover from down state instead of waiting for a teammate to revive you. That's the advantage of the Guardian Relic. It's really, really nice when you're still a beginner and you're still getting your timing down, you're still practicing. But you shouldn't need it on minimal, at least not after you gain sort of a basic level of competency. So again, if you're going to play minimal and grab the gene seed, you get almost as much experience as you're going to get from average without the gene seed. And trust me, when I first started doing average, I felt like I needed that guardian relic, and you can't carry both a guardian relic and a gene seed. Okay, enough said about all that. So if you feel like playing average just because you don't want to develop lazy tactics from playing minimal or whatever, that's perfectly understandable. I do feel like minimal is the right place to get started with, though. But ultimately make the decision that is best for you. So one other thing to keep in mind here: when you turn on private mode, the game is a little bit buggy, as I alluded to a minute ago. I'm going to go ahead and choose Inferno. I think it's the best op to start out with. And down here in the lower right-hand corner, if you're doing it for the very first time, see, I had already chosen this, so it worked for me this time. But you'll notice when you come out of this little selection screen, it's going to come out with Inferno, which is the mission that you just chose, and then there's a very good chance it will change to a different mission. I don't know why it does this, but the first time you select a mission, it's going to change, or usually it changes from Inferno to one of the others. You just, at that point, then want to hit U to reject the mission, cancel it, go back into the screen, select Inferno again, and then it will stick. And like I said, it only does that the first time. That's why it didn't do it for me this time. Rob, so I'm going to go ahead and get started here. I'm going to get a couple of bots to join me. It's random what bots you're going to get to join you. You're going to need to do most of the heavy lifting yourself. That's fine. That's what you want to do when you're practicing. If you hold down the enter key, you can skip that cutscene. Pretty, interesting to watch it the first time maybe, but trust me, it'll get boring when you start doing these ops over and over again. It takes just a few seconds to join the server and do the loading resources, and then you're going to get to another really quick cutscene that, again, you want to watch it the first time, but after the first time you probably won't ever need to again, and then you'll just be able to, again, hold down the enter key to skip through this one as well. Alright, there we go. So we're in our ops. We've got a Vanguard and we've got an Assault with us. Doesn't really matter. all those bots are going to be good for is to be bullet sponges and to get you up if you go into downstate. So they will do a little bit of damage, but they're not going to do a ton. The one nice thing that they do is they tend to allow you to do executes to get your armor back up, which is nice of them. So as the player, trust me, playing this game, this is the most important early lesson that I learned, and I think probably the same is going to be true for a lot of players. The most important lesson to doing halfway decently at this game and not dying all the time. Okay, somebody shot me from behind over here. Most important lesson is going to be to try to manage your armor. Okay, so target neutralized. If you ever see them appear with a skull over their head like that, you want to try to interrupt them so they don't call for reinforcements. I'll try to point that out the next time it happens. As you probably have already learned from doing the campaign, or if you know, even the first mission of the campaign, you get iframes when you go into an execute, which protects you from taking any damage whatsoever, and so that's extremely helpful. Just be prepared. The default is E. Be prepared to hit that execute button as soon as it pops up. It's extremely useful in this game. You get an armor point back for doing an execute. You're also immune to taking any damage while the execute is happening. Extremely useful when you're fighting big packs of enemies. So I'm taking my time right now and explaining things. Normally, once you kind of get the hang of this operation, or any operation, you're going to want to try to go through it faster than what I'm doing here, because the longer you linger, the more waves are going to build up, and they keep getting called in, and you keep having to fight more and more enemies. You definitely want to make sure that you grab med packs anytime you can, but again, the goal is to never take any health damage. The goal is to maintain your armor. I'm going to go ahead and pick up an armor boost here as well. Those are obviously extremely useful. You gain an additional armor point. The name of the game is to manage your armor, as I mentioned. The main way of doing that is by doing parries, gun strikes, and executes. Every time you do any of the gun strikes, which come from perfect parries, anytime you do them, you get a little bit of armor back. Anytime you do an execute, you get a little bit of armor back. You also want to pick up those armor boosts anytime you can. Now, these, as you can see, even with basic weapons, these Minoris enemies and even the Majoris at this level are not too tough. You do want to kind of practice and get your timing down, particularly when you're only fighting like 1 or 2 Majoris at a time, because you really need to learn to recognize the cues. So right here, there is a Guardian Relic. I'm going to leave it here because I don't want a Guardian Relic. I want a Gene Seed. But extremely important as a player, check right there. That's your first Guardian Relic. There'll be other locations where they might pop up. Anytime you run around and see boxes, like crates, supply crates, I don't see any down there, but there are sometimes some there. There are sometimes some right there. Go ahead and crash through those, because you can get things like ammo, grenades, and like here's an example of them. Crash into them. This is just ammo, but you can find med packs in there sometimes. You can find armor boosts. So here in the early going, as you can see, not too challenging. This is a good time to be practicing your weapon, practicing your timing. There is sometimes a Gene Seed right here. I'm going to go ahead and mark it, I suppose. Boom, right there. Sometimes there's a Gene Seed on that table. Now we've got enemy wave coming in. I'm actually going to recommend at the beginning not continuing to run forward when you hear that sound and you see the message that there's an enemy wave coming in. The reason, okay, whenever you see blue, you want to hit your parry. That is number one. You want to dodge a lot. There's an execute that one of the bots actually took from me. But whenever you see a red enemy, you want to try to do your executes. Whenever you see, this time that again. Okay, there's an execute. You want to go ahead and grab the execute anytime you can. Obviously, you execute a Majoris enemy. It helps take care of the Minoris. You want to make sure you're not getting surrounded, like I just did. So there's a gun strike that I took. You want to just basically try to keep them all in front of you. You want to parry whenever you see them jump towards you. Good time to try to execute them is right after a parry, particularly here at the low levels. Even with crappy weapons, it only takes a couple of hits to put them in the execute state, and like I said, that's how you get armor back. So I even got surrounded a little bit there. I missed a couple of parry opportunities. It's what happens when I try talking and fighting at the same time. But as you can see, we still came out of that with full armor, full health. So we're just going to head up this way. Anyway, as I was saying, I actually recommend not continuing to press forward when you see that reinforcements are coming. Good place for a grenade right there. Because you could accidentally, by moving forward, you can accidentally start pulling another group of enemies that were already on the map. And then the reinforcing wave, it might come in behind you, and it's a great way to end up getting surrounded. So these little things right here, if you haven't already learned it from the campaign, you shoot them, they explode. Can be quite useful. They're almost as good as grenades. Grab an armor boost here. Gonna head up this way, and I believe there's another gene seed potential location. Okay, just had some enemies drop in from. Go gun strike from the parry. Another parry, another gun strike, and an execute. Okay. Just want to try to learn whenever. I know that the colors are very helpful. Trust me, you don't need to wait. Boy, I missed a couple of timings here. It's actually what happens to me a lot is I actually start parrying too soon, and that's actually what I was about to say is a lot of times when you see that blue, you think, okay, got to parry right away. Well, sometimes you might end up accidentally parrying too soon when you do that. So, I jumped on my back. Bit of a jerk. The most important thing, as you can see, I mistimed some parries, have not done particularly well here. Okay, that's a Ravager there running around. He's still around here somewhere. You can see target extremists. I haven't even used my scan yet. There we go. Try to scan him. Okay, never mind. Too late. He's already executable. Again, those guys are not really too scary. You do want to try to scan them though, if you can. So they burrow underground, and that makes fighting them take just a little bit longer. So, a couple of things to keep in mind when you're fighting. Don't get surrounded. Timing your dodges and your parries is the most important thing, even over constantly doing damage. So, repositioning to make sure that they don't. I could grab some stems there, except I'm already at maximum health, and I already have maximum stems. So again, man, I missed another dodge here. Way to go, Michael. Well, this is partly. From trying to do too many things at once, and partly, that's just the name of the game. You're going to miss dodges, and you just want to make sure that it doesn't completely screw up the song and dance of combat when you miss one. Just take a second, pause, recover, don't panic, and get your timing down again. And the reason why I refer to it as a song and dance is because there is a cadence to combat. It's all about rhythm. Okay, see right there, I mistimed another parry. I did it too soon. Okay, we got a guy here who has tried to call in reinforcements. Target neutralized. So you want to let me go ahead and execute him. I did take some damage there. That's going to happen. Okay, parry, gun strike, execute. Got my armor back. Still in low health, and that's what the stems are for. Looks like we have cleared them all out. So as I was saying, I'm going to go ahead and use a stem pack there. As I was saying, there's a cadence to, like a rhythm to combat, and you just can only ever figure it out. Conveniently, there's more med stems, so I can top them back off again. You can only carry 2 of those. Lower right-hand corner. So there's no shortcut to just experience, to practice, and learning sort of the rhythm of combat. You'll get to the point where you should be instinctively hitting space, which is the default, Okay, I'm going to stay right here, as I mentioned. That's the sound of reinforcements coming in. This guy's going to jump at me, parry him, going to gun strike him, going to hit him once, twice. Okay, thought I was going to be able to get an execute there. There we go, there's an execute. So, definitely focus on taking out the Majoris enemies as much as possible, because it will help clear out the Minoris as well because of the hive mind. Something that you probably would have learned from the campaign already. We got lots of these spore mines. I hate those things, so we're going to try to clear them out as much as possible. Here we go. It's just a matter of not letting them all get. There's more spore mines. Don't let everything surround you. Just deal with the wave as best you can. You've got a chain sword. I've got a couple of them around me. Really good to try to get a stomp off. That is 3 light attacks followed by a heavy attack. That's a great way to clear out the Minoris enemies when they are all around you. I shouldn't say clear them out. It's a good way to stun them for a second, which buys you a little bit of time. I'm going to go ahead and execute this guy. Okay. We've got the massive enemy wave here. That's why this is taking a little while. This is going to happen sometimes, even on the lowest level. That's why I'm saying there's plenty of fun to be had, even at the lowest level. I keep dodging all the time. Dodge rolling is a good way to kind of protect yourself from taking damage when things are all around you and things have gone completely crazy. If you're not in iframes and you've got these tracker beams all around you that you know a shot is going to be incoming very soon, it's a good idea to roll around a lot. There are times where I roll for 10-15 seconds straight because there's just too many enemies. Get your block in, get yourself a nice gun strike and an execute, and there you go. Massive wave is pretty much cleared out at this point. So at this point, what we're supposed to be doing, had that wave not happened, is got to search these bodies for the troopers, for the codes, the demolition codes. Okay, I have the code. So in this case, I got it from the very first one that I searched, but there's a lot of bodies floating around. I'm going to go ahead and grab some extra ammo and reload. I still have a grenade, but I'm going to switch to the Melt-A-Bomb because why not? And so there's another body up here that you can search. It's not going to show me the search function here because I've already found the codes, but there's a body over here, there's a body over here, there's a body, there's 2 more inside that cave that I'm not going to go into, there's a body right here, and then there is sometimes right here some armory data that you want to grab if you can, if it's there. There's several different locations for armory data, and I will try to show all of them. Okay. Then once you have the codes, you just need to press on here. Once you get to this point right here, and your bots or your other players come with you, you will see that will then close up behind you. So if there's enemies behind you, they cannot pursue you here. However, here's an armor boost, so that's nice. I'm still going to recommend, if you hear an incoming wave coming, do not block them there and run forward here, because I swear there will just be more of them that appear right here. Alright, now, we're going to have some enemies here. So a lot of times there's Majoris enemies right here. There's a couple, oh, hello, what happened there? Okay, we got ourselves another extremist enemy. I scanned him, and we're gonna try to take care of him. Okay, first thing I'm going to do is this execute. Ooh, I got hit there. Okay, hit this guy, hit this guy, hit this guy, hit this guy. Okay, disappear. This is a little bit nasty of him, but it happens. As you can see, I do a lot of dodging. That's because I know he's going to jump out at some point, and I don't know where. Okay, where are you at, buddy? I know you're coming out. There you are. There you are. Okay. Wow, he's doing a number on me. Okay, block him. And he's dead. Okay. Alright, yeah, you gotta just dodge until you see the blue circle with him, and then that's a good time to block him instead of dodging. Here's another Guardian Relic right here. Again, I'm not going to grab it, but that's a good spawn location for Guardian Relics. And when you're first getting started, Guardian Relics are kind of your best friend. Blow up any of those barrels, those red things that are near any enemies. Not just here, but anywhere you see them. It's like I said, it's kind of like a grenade. Okay. Go ahead and grab some ammo, why not? We've got some enemies over there, but I'm not going to bother to pull them. We want to come over this way. Okay, here we go. You hear that sound? That is an enemy wave incoming, and here they come. Let's go ahead and throw a grenade in there. Oh, that's not right. I don't have a grenade. Okay, I'm going to detonate a melt-a-bomb instead. That took care of some of them. Good stomp there. Stomp will often stun an enemy, which gives you an opportunity to get a... You gotta always prioritize parries, by the way, no matter what else happens. If you see blue, you probably want to hit your parry button, which is by default space. You can remap it, of course. Alright, there we go. I was about ready to do a triple melee, or triple light, followed by a heavy for the stomp, but I tend to get distracted in the middle of it by doing gun strikes and parries. Okay, there was a gun strike, and then somebody killed that Minotaur. That's the one problem with gun strikes and executes on the Minotaur enemies. They're great if you can get them, but a lot of times your teammates, even the bots, will kill them first, and then you end up basically making yourself vulnerable. Oh, almost got shot there. Okay, execute. Yeah, you make yourself vulnerable if you stop to do a gun strike and suddenly that enemy is dead and you don't get the gun strike. You can also get interrupted doing gun strike, so it's just something to keep in mind. So don't do it all the time if you're completely surrounded. Again, there's no shortcut for the muscle memory that comes with practice. So here's a gene seed. This is a gene seed location, the second one, and this time it did actually appear there. So you can see in the lower right hand corner, I now have a gene seed. I'm going to go ahead and top off my health, grab the extra med stems there, and even though I've not done particularly well, you can see that I'm still back up to full health and full armor. Sometimes there's some supply crates over here, explosive things all around in this area. We probably are going to have a few more right around the corner right here. We do not. Okay. Sometimes you do, and then that red barrel right there is a good one to try to blow up any of the Minotaur enemies or anything that might be waiting for you right there around the corner. Okay, got a shock grenade. Since I don't have any grenades at all, I will go ahead and take those. And more med stems right there. So on minimal, there tend to be a lot of med stems floating around. Okay, right over there, I'm going to go ahead and switch my weapon out so you can see a little bit better. Right over there, we've got a Minotaurus. He's dead. We've got a Majoris over here. When it's only a single one, with the bots, I tend to open up fire from a distance because this is one time that the bots the AI bots do make themselves useful, is they can usually take out a single Majoris from distance. Okay, so then in this room there's all kinds of goodies that you can pick up. I'm going to switch to my sidearm because I'm pretty low on ammo on my main weapon. So there's sometimes armory data right here. You can't see it until you get relatively close, so you got to come over this way. There's often a Guardian Relic up here. I will show you that behind this table right here.
Location mark.
Right there it is, Guardian Relic. Don't want it, but now you know that there's a spawn point for those right there. So this room I find to be the actual most challenging part of the entire op, including the final battle at the end. The reason being, this is the one place where surviving is not good enough. Most places, as long as you survive, you can get through that room. But here, switch back to my main weapon because there's an ammo cache here.
Picking up extra rounds.
Okay. Oh. Still got some enemies floating around here. So here, you unfortunately can't get away with just surviving. So what you're going to do is you're going to interact. It's going to start lowering that bomb right there in front of you. Those things that look like rockets. Going to start lowering them down. This is the trap that we are setting for the Tyranids. Now all of a sudden we're going to start getting wave after wave of enemies. I should have started doing this before now, but you can push this. I'm not going to be able to push it far enough in this particular time because I didn't start doing it early enough. But anyway, there's going to be the first wave is going to start out right here, and you can use that little explosive thingy to do a lot of damage to this first wave. Okay, somebody, again, I saw a tracer, somebody was getting ready to shoot at me. Okay, right there, somebody's shooting at me. Block, execute. Okay, so we cleared the first wave. Now, as you can see, defend generator 3. This is what I'm talking about. So, you can't just stay alive. Now, you're going to get, there's 4 different places where they can show up. And what you need to do is you need to clear out these guys who are gun strike. Oops, except again I got interrupted trying to do a gun strike. So that's what I'm talking about. There we go. That time I was able to get one off. Yeah, so you got to clear out all the enemies that are trying to do damage to these generators, and you will fail this mission even if you are still alive. Because if you let them do all of the damage to the generator. Okay, so we got ourselves a extremist here. I'm going to go ahead and scan him. If I can, please. Thank you. Parry, gun strike, hit him. Oh, got switched over to a different target here. Okay, now there's a jammed crane. Okay, you jerk. Parry. Gun strike and execute. Oh, that's the wrong one. Okay, my teammate ended up executing. That's fine. Okay. All right. So now, with all this going on, you have to worry about survival. And here comes another wave coming in. Let's go ahead and do this execute. Always good to try to get executes as soon as you can because of the armor. You want to get some armor back. Interact. The crane jam. So you can have multiple rounds. I'm going to go ahead and throw a grenade. You can have multiple rounds of generators having to protect the generators. You can also, it's all random. Sometimes you only get a single round, and I think sometimes maybe even it doesn't. No, I think you always have to defend at least one of the. Switch to melee here. You always have it, I think, at least one. Okay, there we go. At least one time that you have to protect a generator. Sometimes, like in this particular case, we're going to have to protect multiple generators. So get your butt over here as fast as you can, even though there are enemies in the way, because you really need to stop these guys from doing damage to the generator. Man, okay, this is pretty. See, as you can see, this is pretty challenging, even for minimal difficulty. Okay, I tried to prioritize the parry, and I still didn't get it off in time. Parry. Thought I parried that one. Still, there we go. Finally. Okay, got an execute off. Okay, and finally do this. Okay, the bomb deployment finally finished. Go ahead and grab some crack grenades here. Oop, somebody's still shooting at me. Okay, so finally, after any number of times where you have to protect the generators, may have to fix the crane, At some point, the doors will open up. Let me go ahead and top off my health, grab these medical stems, and grab that ammo cache. And let's go ahead. At some point, grab this armor boost. At some point, these doors will open and you just need to get up here. Doesn't matter if there's still some enemies back there. Just leave them behind once these doors open up. Come up here, interact, and finally we're done with that room. So that room I find to be the most challenging, particularly when you're using AI bots, because you're usually on your own to try to defend those generators. The AI bots do not help you out very much in trying to clear out the generators, and so just you gotta juggle staying alive. Okay, right here, boom, another special item location. I'm trying to remember what it is. I think it's a Guardian relic right there, but I could be wrong about that. It might be a GNC location. Okay. Yeah, so that once you get through that room, it's all, I don't want to say smooth sailing exactly, but that's you've now got the toughest part of the island out of the way. Somebody took that execute from me, that's fine. I don't, as you can see, I'm at full armor, so I don't really need to top off my armor anyway with an execute. There are sometimes supply crates in here like this. Ammo box, sure, I'll grab that. Okay, what's next? Up here into this room. Another location for special item. Oh, hello. Okay. Parry. Gun strike. Come on. Ended up targeting the wrong enemy. Parry, gun strike. Just got to get used to parrying as soon as you see blue circle. Very important. Okay, this guy is doing a... okay, good. He had the little skull. He was trying to summon reinforcements, but my companions actually did a pretty good job there of doing some damage to him and interrupting his calling reinforcements. It's not the end of the world on minimal. If they do get the reinforcements summoned, it's going to bring in another wave, but it's not going to bring in a massive wave. So that's the good news. It's survivable when they call in the reinforcements on minimal. Nevertheless, you still want to definitely prioritize that. You sometimes get some goodies over here. Here's some stems. I don't need them. And then over here, I think there's armory data that can appear right here. And as you could hear just now, we've got another wave incoming. This is one location where it's okay to just keep running, leave the wave behind. Normally I don't recommend doing that, but here you can, because as long as your teammates get up here with you, you could go ahead and interact here and close off this. The elevator will start going up and you can leave them all behind. They're not going to be able to pursue you past this point. We've got two little sections left. This right here, we've got a massive enemy wave coming. Let's go ahead and blow up the explosives here. We're just going to stay here and fight for a few minutes because this massive enemy wave is going to take a little bit of time. I tend to dodge roll instinctively when I'm reloading my gun. In case you're wondering why I'm dodge rolling even though nothing was attacking me, it's muscle memory at this point. Okay, that guy, okay, behind me here. Yeah, those spore mines are very annoying. Very, very annoying. You just want to clear out some of the... Okay, that time I didn't dodge in time. Probably a good place for another grenade here. Just don't panic. Massive waves they're certainly beatable. You just need to not panic. Keep to the rhythm of combat. Okay, I need to switch over to my handgun. You should probably try to clear out these brambles, these whatever you call them, on the ground. These barbed wire thingies. Clear them out because they do become a nuisance. And they not only do damage to you, but they also tend to dominate the screen, and it's hard to see enemies who are on the other side of them. Okay, got an execute right there. Alright, almost done. Going to blow that up. I think we pretty much have this wave mostly done with. Okay. Sometimes there are some barrels here. I'm going to grab this melter bomb because why not? Okay. Alright, got some more over there. I'm going to go ahead and try to pull them in this direction, see if any of them come over here, because I want to try to use that explosive thingy on them. No, they didn't come forward. They're all shooters. No problem. No problem. Okay, just get this execute. So yeah, when you get those massive waves, or at any point where you're surrounded by tons of enemies, it's okay. Don't panic. Just anytime you see something jumping at you, hit your block button, unless you see orange. Okay, so here's armory data. This is obviously another location for armory data right in here. There's also usually supply crates in here that you can use to get reloads or armor boosts or all kinds of goodies. Okay, we have ourselves. I'm going to go ahead and fight this, but you don't need to at this point. We could just run forward, scan him. You could just run forward at this point. I should switch back to my main gun since it is stronger than. Once you see where it says reach up ahead there? Once you get that far, anything back here will not follow you. But like I said, just for demonstration purposes, I'm going to go ahead and fight this guy. He does his a couple of different ranged attacks. He'll throw those 3 green things at you. You can just dodge each one individually. Just know that there's 3 of them. Okay, meanwhile, then, come on down here. Like I said, you could run away from the enemies and assemble down here and get away from them. Next step, we're now at the final battle. This is... all you gotta do is come over here. It's a timed event. It will start happening on its own. You don't need to do any interactions, but good chance for you to pick up some ammo. I'm going to go ahead and grab some shot grenades, grab some med stems if you need them, which I currently do not. We've got some ammo over here, usually on minimal difficulty. There's more med stems right there. This right here you want to open up. This will release some gas down there, so you can set up an explosive trap for these guys. I usually like shoot 1 mag full of that before I then go ahead and ignite to allow plenty of enemies to get into range. Okay, chance for a parry there, but I accidentally shot him before I could parry it. Okay, this is a good place for some grenades, and this is what your AI bots are good at, is just soaking up damage in fights like this. Try to focus on the Majoris enemies as much as you can, because it will help clear out the Minoris enemies, but there are going to be times where you are surrounded by Minoris enemies. So, a couple of things that you can do here. Grenades are very useful. I'm going to...
Consoles alive. I offer my service.
I'm going to try to figure out a good place for the Minoris, or for the bomb that I just picked up. Okay. Anyway, here we go. This is a decent place for it. So this is one thing that you can do, is go ahead and use your grenades or drop a bomb here. It can be pretty effective. Try not to do too much damage to yourself. Another thing is there are often explosive barrels on this level that you can use. Go ahead and grab this armor boost, because why not? There are explosive barrels like this right there that you can use. Try to roll around and lure a whole bunch of them over near an explosive barrel and blow it up. I'll try to do that right here. You can also open up this trap. So right here, I'm going to let some of them get closer, and boom. Go ahead and execute this guy. So I opened up that that vent on this side, but after you open it up, you do then need to come down here and do an interact. I'm going to do it anyway just to show you, but there's not really any enemies down there worth burning right now. So this fight is basically all about wave after wave of enemies. It's fine. It's all under control. You just got to whittle their numbers down. I don't like the ranged enemies. Okay, I got shot from behind. That was annoying. It's because of these guys back here. They will shoot you. Okay, gun strike. Okay, this guy right there is going to be a problem. You want to dodge. Dagnabbit, I tried to demonstrate how to approach them. You dodge roll when they're going to get ready to shoot you. Go ahead. Oh, he did it again. And I let this guy get out of execute. There we go. Execute. So since I've taken a fair amount of damage here, I'm going to go ahead and use a stem. I'm trying to demonstrate how to get... Yeah, there you go. You want to not let these guys shoot you while you're approaching them, so you can dodge roll straight towards them a few times, and usually that'll work. I can do it again here with this guy, except he shot me anyway because I didn't time it right. That's what this game is all about in a nutshell, is trying to get your timing down on things like that, but just be prepared for the fact that every once in a while your timing won't work. You're going to screw up the timing. It's okay, don't panic, just reset. Allow the cadence to reset. Start your rhythm all over again after something goes wrong. There we go. See blue. Go ahead and parry, even if it's coming from, the part of the screen that you're not looking at. Now that time, twice now, I've been in the middle of a dodge roll. There we go, parry, 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 gun strike, hit him, execute. Sometimes if you're in the middle of a dodge roll, you're not going to get the opportunity to go parry, to go, there's one. Yeah, if you're in the middle of a dodge roll, you don't get the opportunity to do your parry. It's okay, just reset, take a deep breath, and get the next parry. Yeah, I think we're just about done here. So as you can see, I've done a lot of things wrong, and yet, I'm going to go ahead and use another med pack here, and we're still just fine. Gun strike. Okay. Almost every time when you're surrounded by Minor's enemies and you do a stomp, you'll end up stunning one of them. That lets you get a gun strike off. And I think it's still not cleared out. Go, block. Nope, didn't get block off. There we go, gun strike. Nope, didn't get that off either. Dodge roll around a lot when they're all around you. I think now we're ready. Threat neutralized. You are clear to detonate. Cook those rotten bastards. Yes, Captain, you heard him. Right here, detonate the bomb. And there you have it. Now, one more location I forgot to mention. As soon as that bomb goes off, by the way, you want to be running in the other direction from where I'm going. But back here, I think it's like right here, there can be a Guardian. Okay, there you have it. So, in summary, that's sort of the play-by-play of this mission. On minimal, you don't have to fight any bosses, you just have to reach this extraction point then after you detonate the bombs. And what you'll see is another cutscene I can skip through. When it brings up the experience screen, you'll see that we'll get 900 some experience because of the gene seed. Excuse me while I yawn. There's no way to speed through this part. It just has to join server and go through loading resources, of course. patient, Michael. Okay, yeah, so here we go. Because of the gene seed, we're up to 815 here, plus a little bit more from right here. Got an extra 60 from that screen, so almost 900. Yes, you will get more from average, but let's go ahead and watch the character progress here. Watch our weapons. That's all the rewards you get out of it. You need experience and armory data, as I mentioned at the beginning. I didn't gain any experience on my weapons because, or at least on that first screen, because the mastery was already reached. But as you can see, it does keep track of experience for each individual weapon that you use in that particular op. So yes, you can get more experience from doing average, particularly if you also use the gene seed on average. But in my experience, it takes a while before you're going to be good enough to be using the gene seed on average, and instead you're going to feel like using the Guardian Relic. And when you use the Guardian Relic instead of the gene seed, then you end up getting almost as much experience from minimal as you would get from average. Same, also minimal is going to give you the same armory data that you would get from average as well. So again, it's a little bit more chill, a little bit more laid back to do minimal. Nothing nearly as overwhelming as you will experience on the higher difficulties. I recommend minimal just as a good place to cut your teeth, to learn the basic timing of how to fight the different enemies, to learn their moves, to learn the cues, when you need to dodge, when you need to parry. Obviously, there's fantastic guides out there already by other YouTubers that can really go into detail about how to be an expert parrier or dodger, or how to use the different melee weapons to your advantage, things like that. But hopefully this is going to be useful to some of you who are just getting started in operations and maybe found some of the advanced tips to not really be all that useful in the early going. They will be useful in time, but the most important things when you're getting started is just to kind of get a feel for the pacing, the cadence of combat, and to learn how to level up your gear, get your perks. As you can see here, I didn't level up, so I didn't unlock any perks, but when you're first getting started, you will pretty much unlock a new perk every time you complete an operation. You will also gain in 2 minimal operations, you will gain enough experience to take your gun from standard to master crafted. So it doesn't take very long, even on minimal, to level up your gear from the lowest level to the second level. Once you've got the master crafted gear, you're going to start feeling a lot more comfortable in terms of your survivability, and also maybe stepping up the difficulty from minimal to average. So there we go. I probably missed a few things. If anybody has any questions, feel free to put them in the comments. If any of you have any additional tips to offer for beginners, please feel free to also put those in the comments below. Go ahead and leave it there. I hope this was at least helpful to some of you. Like I said, this is a lot of information that I wish I knew at the very beginning when I first got started in ops. Okay, anyway, I'm going to go ahead and leave it there. Thank you all so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video.